What's up? What's up, boys? It's me, Justin. It's Ben. It's Roland, and you know exactly what we're here to do. We're here to talk UFC 300 this weekend, one of the most anticipated cards of the year, if not the most anticipated card of the year. And I'm gonna kick it to Roland first because we didn't see you last week. What's up, Roland?
Hey man, just glad to be back here kicking it with the guys. Like Justin said, UFC 300, one of the more anticipated cards of the year. I'm just glad to be kicking it here with you guys. After football season ends and basketball season's kind of just winding down in terms of the regular season, it's a little rest period for myself. So I took a little rest and recovery. You guys came in a week early, but I decided to take an extra week and recover and do some homework for UFC 300. And I do want to say, before we kick it to Ben, because I know Ben's got a lot to say, but we were here talking a couple of weeks ago when we were breaking down UFC 299 about UFC 299 and 298, maybe even two, potentially being better than 300. But now that we're here, the card is absolutely loaded from start to finish. We're going to get to talk about every fight on the card, spend more time on the main event, of course. But yeah, man, I'm excited about 300. It's here.
All right, Ben, just to catch up with you, we got the Masters rolling. We just had the NCAA tournament, that we talked about last week. What's up with you, bro?
Yeah, I didn't get to watch much golf today, to be honest. I had a pretty busy day at work, but I'm looking forward to the weekend, bro. I just told Gabby before we came on, man, I'm ready for the fucking weekend. It's been a long week. Thankfully, we have the biggest card yet to be of the year. I know that, like Roland said, we've debated it. We've said that the other ones were going to be better. I don't know if they've delivered. I think hopefully UFC 300 delivers. I mean, we're going to break down or at least give quick picks for, every fight on the card. That's how stacked it is. We're starting off with two former champs, as the curtain jerker for this card. It's crazy. So, yeah, happy to be here. Looking forward to the weekend. And where are y'all going to be watching the fight? What's the plan for fight night?
So for me, I'm going to be watching it at my house. I got Gabe and Josh coming over, probably their dad as well, with my pops coming over. And, I haven't eaten pizza in quite some time. I kind of been on a health kick for this past month. So
There we go.
Pizza's going to be on the menu, Ben. That's what I'm going to do.
Nice. Ramadan, Justin, or no?
Yeah, Eid Mubarak to everybody. Happy Eid.
There we go. I like that, Justin. Yeah, I'm gonna be kicking it at the house too. I was considering maybe going out, but it just gets so stressful picking a place to go and then worrying about the crowds and stuff. I'd rather just kick it at my place. Get some food like Justin's talking about. Probably call over my brother and just chill and kick it here. Watch the fight and take it here at home. Best seat in the house.
This is one of the ones that you do go out for though, because you have all the fan favorites on this card. Aside from Dustin Poirier. But it feels like everybody that usually puts on a really good fight is on this fight card. You know how I see a lot of finishes on this card just based off the names that are on here. We know what they bring. So, but like you, Roland, I'm going to spend it inside for sure. I ain't going out, my old ass.
Ben, and like you said, or like you've said in the past, I don't think there's going to be a lot of these, but this is your phrase. You're not going to have a lot of opportunities to go out and walk the dog. Or go to the restroom. There's not a lot of those on this card. Not a lot.
Because even though we do have the co-main event, being a women's fight, it is for a belt. Two bad chicks. We'll talk about it. Got Kayla Harrison making her UFC debut against Holly Holm. A lot of people were expecting maybe a little part two of how Ronda Rousey looked against Holly Holm, but we'll get into all of it. I'm eager to talk about these fights, man. But needless to say, really looking forward to it.
All right, boys, let's take it in. Here's a UFC 300 poster, and you're just looking at this, man, and look how stacked this card is. I can't believe this is all on one card. You got Aljamain, who doesn't have the belt anymore, but look, these are past champions, and they're fighting at the prelims. They're not even on the main card. Yeah, it's stacked.
It's super loaded, and the other thing, I don't want to get too into it because I want to break down the fights and everything, but I feel like this is a good representation of this generation's core fighters. These are the guys that have we've seen their prime, come through the latter stages of the 190s, maybe all the way through the 200s. These are the guys that have been, putting fans in the stands for the most part for a lot of these cards. So I'm glad there's a good representation here of guys that are in their prime, maybe going to the next stage of that, and guys who are entering their prime, like Bo Nickel and others. So yeah, good representation of fighters here.
All right, let's get into it. Let's start with Bo Nickel. Roland mentioned him, and I'm looking at this fight, and You know, like I said, this card is so stacked, and I'm looking at this fight. I'm not sure this is a main card worthy matchup. You know, I would have probably put this somewhere on the prelims, but it seems like the UFC, they have the rocket attached to Bo Nickel. They want the most eyes on him, and I totally get that. Um, I'm gonna go with Ben first here. How do you see this fight going? You know, Cody Brundage gets finished quite a lot. He's like maybe 60% finish rate at this moment. And you know what, Bo Nickel, the blue chipper that he is, rolling. How do you see this fight going?
Yeah, you know, the interesting thing about this is Cody Brundage, like Bo Nickel, is also a wrestler, right? That's kind of his practice for the most part. So in terms of that, that's a little bit of a test, but ultimately there's levels to the game. You know, Bo Nickel, we all know his wrestling accolades, like you were talking about, out of Penn State, one of the most anticipated prospects, has done nothing but deliver since he's come through the Contender Series, nothing but first round finishes. So we're gonna see if Cody Brundage is able to test him here. But I still got Bo Nickel. I think he'll finish it in the first round. Nothing to see here. He's minus 2,100. I'm not going to put him in any plays because I think that's just crazy. Like, if just to put him in a parlay just for the sake of it. But yeah, just to see one go in through the hoop. But nah, Bo Nickel, he should take care of business though.
We all talk about Bo Nickel's wrestling, Ben, but he's only registered one takedown in the UFC. Do you think maybe his MMA wrestling's not that good?
I just think that people are looking so forward to the takedown that we've seen guys with their hands low against him, you know, like almost ready to sprawl. And Bo Nichols come out, and I mean, he has power. He's an athlete. Roland said, you know, beast at Penn State. The odds at minus 2,100. I mean, this is a guy that people have been betting his fights to be finished in under 60 seconds, believe it or not. Like, they've been throwing that prop out there. If people are going to last a minute with Bo Nickel so far. Now, we know that this is his toughest competition to date, which doesn't say much. You know, Cody Brundage has been around a while, but he's not ranked. He's not, you know, any type of gatekeeper. He's a warm body for somebody to get a highlight reel. And I think that that's what's going to happen. This is Bo Nickel first round, pretty easy. Still waiting for this guy to get tested. We did our show at the beginning of the year when we predicted the champions for this year, and I did have Bo Nickel being the champion of his weight class. You know, he's going to need a big step up after this fight.
And Ben, I don't want to, you know, crap on your prediction because it's still early on. Well, maybe not early on. We're almost a third of the way through the year. But Bo Nickel, I want to say I heard on a podcast not too long ago, just one of those clips that comes through on Instagram that, you know, he's not looking to rush. He wants to go through that slow plan. You know, he wants to build himself up. Yeah, he used that phrase. Justin, you're right. The O'Malley treatment. I don't know when he's going to be ready to take his shot, but we'll see. I don't know, Justin. When do you think he's going to take his big shot? Because right now he's still playing it easy.
Like you mentioned, we're a third of the fight season in already. So that means in 2 fights he would have to be fighting for the title for Ben's prediction to come through. I don't see Cody Brundage 2 steps away from the title. It sounds like you're still like 4 or 5 steps away. I don't think he's in any rush. He's getting good money. He's well sponsored. I think he wants that slow burn towards the title, and I think he's going to take that route. I mean, it's easy money. These matchups, he's minus 2,100, and as long as he keeps winning, this is not going to be a problem. I think this is what he's wanting to do. I think the UFC's agreed. That's why, even though I said this is not main event worthy, they're going to put it on because they want the most eyes on this kid because it's their blue chipper. It's what they want.
And so kind of on that token, I don't know if you necessarily agree with it, but I'm just going to ask the question anyway. So I think we all know, or not know, but I think we all agree that Nichols here is going to win, or at least we're on that side. Are you okay with Nickel being here on the main card? Or is there somebody that got left out, or not necessarily left out, but that's on the prelims that you'd rather see? Do you think it's deserving? Because like you said, they want their blue chipper. They want their main prospect out there, kind of the guy to usher in the new generation, a guy who'll probably be there at 400 if all things go well for him. What are your thoughts as far as the booking on the main card?
I think, yeah, they wanted eyes on him, but this has guaranteed highlight reel finish written all over it. So that's what you want for your pay-per-view portion. Of course, Calvin Kattar and Aljamain Sterling probably should have been in here over this fight.
Yes.
You know what I mean? No doubt about it. But you don't know how that fight might go. Here, you know that Bo Nickel has come out. He's taking care of business. You know, it's the first fight of the pay-per-view. It's not like they have him, deeper down.
Yeah.
But this is the highlight reel. This is that guaranteed finish. Let's start the pay-per-view off with a bang. Oh, this kid's great.
Yeah.
The buzz is going, for the rest of the main card. So it's good, like strategic placement, but there's definitely fights on the undercard that could have been slotted in here just based off of guys' resumes in the UFC.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. I think that's the card. I think you would go Aljamain and Calvin Kattar. I would have that. The other fights, I'd probably still put this one over the other ones, though.
For sure. No, I just wanted to see y'all's take on that.
All right, moving on to the next main event fight. We got Charles Oliveira versus Arman Sarukian. Charles, he's the dog here. He's put together 12 wins in his last 13 fights. His only loss has come to Islam Makhachev in Abu Dhabi. Yet he's a 185 dog here. Sarukian himself, quite a run. He only has 2 losses. One, Islam Makhachev. The other was Montuz Gamrot. And we know that Charles is a submission specialist. He's got the most submission finishes in the UFC. But Sarukian has the wrestling to neutralize that. Ben, I'm going to go to you first here. Who do you got and why?
I'm a huge Charles Oliveira fan. I like his style. I like, he's a guy that whenever you watch one of his fights, you know that you're going to get madness, and you're probably going to get a finish, whether he goes out on his shield or most often than not, it's him submitting his opponent. I agree with you that Sarukian's wrestling is probably going to offset that. I think the fight might take place standing up, and Sarukian's just that younger guy, kind of has he's charting in the right direction. He's a guy a prospect that everybody was looking at. I mean, you look at these odds and you just think, Charles Oliveira was supposed to fight for the title, but he pulled out, right? And now he's here fighting Sarukian.
Yep.
As a 2-1 dog, bro. I think that
after fighting Beneil, he pulled out, then he fought Beneil, and now he's fighting Sarukian. So
it's been a long way, I guess, back to the title. I definitely think that if Charles Oliveira wins this fight, he does get a title shot here in his next fight. I'm not saying he'd be next for it, but his next fight would be for a title. Probably sit a bit and fight for the belt. I don't see it. I see Sarukian, forcing a stand-up fight. I don't think Sarukian wants to even wrestle with him. If I'm saying, like, if he's attacking, I'm not going to say that I think he's good enough to not get caught, because I just don't play around there if you don't have to, right? I think that's the one spot where Charles Oliveira is probably at his best. So I don't expect Sarukian to do so much offensive wrestling. I think he's going to do it defensively and just keeping the fight standing up and outlasting him there. So I am going to go Sarukian. Not anything I want to play. I'm not too confident just because of the line. I do think, we know Josh in the comments, a lot of Dubronx fans, Gabe, Roland, but this is definitely a spot where you want to play him. Plus 185, probably want to take a shot on him. I just think that the odds are telling us, the story, but they're not valid enough to lay that type of money on Sarukian at 2-1.
Yeah, I mean the odds are kind of telling a couple things for me here. I mean, Dubronx, I just watching the presser, it's become apparent to me, and just for a little while, he might have one of the most rabid fan bases, like out of the current crop of UFC fighters. Like he has a lot of passionate fans behind him, so that's one thing that's always going to be in his favor. Even though they were talking to him about it, despite him not speaking English, but I mean, he's had quite the journey, like Ben was talking about, if he does make it back to the belt, and even, him making it to the belt in the first place was pretty crazy. I mean, all the way from Brazzers, all the way back to the belt. I mean, he's done it. I mean, Dubronx is that guy, but the odds are telling here. I was watching some Arman fights leading up to the podcast, just to, do some homework. He's a physically imposing guy for the weight class. He is a big dude. I mean, just watching him and, how he'd probably size up next to Charles. I think he's going to be the shorter guy, but
the heavier guy, though.
Yeah, he's going to be the heavier guy on fight night. I'm with Ben on this one. I think Arman's gonna get it done. I'll be rooting for Dubronx. I don't know if I'll bet this, but I think the odds are quite telling, and Arman's just a guy who I think is on the come up.
Same guys. I'm with Armon here. I think he's gonna win. There's more paths to victory. He can get it done standing, and he has the wrestling to neutralize Charles Jiu-Jitsu. I will be fully backing Charles, man. I'll probably even place a bet on him because I like the guy so much. As Roland talked about, the rabid fan base. He's one of the fan favorites because of his production in the octagon. He's been really good, and the fans are behind him. He doesn't even speak English, guys, and the fans love him. So that says a lot about Charles.
It's a cult, bro. I call that a cult.
It's a good cult. And I like that
It's
comment,
a
Roland, from
good
Brazzers
cult.
to the championship, because if you know, you know. All right, let's move on to the BMF title on the line. Justin Gaethje versus the best is blessed Max Holloway. A lot of people are calling this the people's main event, and I've clowned, the BMF belt in the past, but I'm going to have to put some respect on it now that it's being defended. If it's going to produce fun fights like this, where we see different weight classes, I got to put some respect. We know what Gaethje's about. He throws, a little bit of caution to the wind at times to get his sticks in, but we know that Blessed is not the biggest hitter. He's a volume guy. Roland, I have to go to you first because this is our boy, and I want to hear what you got to say. Will we be hearing and you or and Steele here?
Man, this is one of those fights where I started getting nervous for this on Monday. Leading up to you usually start getting nervous on fight night, but I've been getting nervous for Max. Even before this, when this was announced, and Max has heard it too. He coming out in interviews recently, doing the media scrum and everything. He's been talking about everyone saying, "Why are you taking this fight with Gaethje? You're messing up your title chances. Why are you going up to 155? You know what happened last time with Poirier." You're going to lose this fight. And, Holloway, he's sick of hearing it. I think this is a little bit different than when he went up against Poirier. The one thing also that I'm going to say is Holloway's never been afraid of the moment. This is a guy that was going to once go and save a Saudi card, I think, and go and fight Khabib on 6 or 7 days notice. Didn't end up making weight, but, he was game to do it. I don't know. That's more just showing face. But, he was there for it. So, we at least had the thought that it was going to go through. But Max has always been a gamer. He's a volume guy. It scares me that Gaethje can put anybody's lights out at any given moment with his power. And we've never seen Max get knocked out. And I know this is different than when he went up against Poirier. But when he went up against Poirier, the size difference and the power difference was noticeable. And that's what's scary about going into this fight. The one thing that I'll say that I'm taking notice to right now that I'm seeing these odds up in front of me is that the odds have come down. People are betting Max Holloway right now because a couple of days ago, a couple of weeks ago, Gaethje was up over 200 or close to 200. So money's coming in on Blessed. People are thinking that he might be able to out volume Gaethje. That's where I'm going to go because I'm not going to vote and go against Max Holloway. I'm getting nervous just talking about it right now. I'm trembling. So I'm going to go with Max Holloway, take him at plus 136, and just hope for the best.
When you started talking about his durability role, and I didn't even want to listen anymore, it got me nervous, man, because he's been so durable. Ben, what about you?
Yeah, I've been surprised this week in listening and watching videos about this card. I have been very surprised at how many people are actually behind Max. And, Roland says the lines come down, and I'm hearing a lot of people backing Max because it is a 5-round fight. Definitely in his favor. We know Gaethje, I don't think he's gone 5 rounds since he's been in the UFC. And in 5-round fights, he's only been finished. Max really isn't the finisher. And Max, like you all said, hasn't been finished. I don't know if he'll be finished here, but dude, I mean, he's definitely not. We don't know because I think that this is the guy that changed his career. But Max Holloway can be hit just as much as Tony Ferguson can be hit when he fought Justin Gaethje. And this is a fight where I don't know if he knocks him out just because of how tough he is, but a standing stoppage or the ref throws in the towel because he's just that tough that he's going to take it. But, bro, between the leg kicks, the punching power, and how hittable Max Holloway is, yes, he has the advantage with the volume. And if he makes it past the 3rd round, I do favor the 4th and 5th round towards Max Holloway. But man, I feel like he's gonna be so fucking beat up by that point, bro. That I mean, we've seen Gaethje. He's become a lot more precise.
Yeah.
He's not as wild as he used to be. I think the leg kicks are gonna be there, max. No Diddy, but we know his legs ain't the thickest, the girthiest. I said no Diddy, but
Yeah,
like,
yeah, I'm glad you did.
bro, those leg kicks are gonna hurt, bro. And not only the leg kicks, but he's very hittable and he's durable. But Gaethje, I mean, there's a reason he's holding the BMF belt. I like Gaethje here. I like Gaethje by stoppage. But I'm really surprised, and I know that Max also has a very big fan base, and it's just as like I don't want to say cult like, but it's just as like what do you say, proud or whatever as any
They're
other
prideful.
fan base.
Yeah, we're
Blessed
prideful.
is the best, and they got their sayings and all this. But man, bro, I see this being kind of like that Tony Ferguson moment where it was kind of a career changing ass whooping, just because the guy's so hittable. You know what I mean? And Gaethje brings it.
Okay.
Scary proposition.
The other thing to talk
That
about
could
in
be
this
the
fight,
worst take of 2024 right there. Sunday morning. You know what I mean?
I hope it is.
I hope it is. I hope it is.
I hope it's not career changing. I do think that Gaethje wins, and maybe I'm exaggerating a bit. It's just that he's that hittable. You know what I mean? I do like that Holloway has been fighting a lot less, so his chin has had a lot more time to chill, even though it gets hit a lot, bro. It gets
And
hit
he's
a
never
lot.
been knocked down. I mean, he does get touched. He's got the chin.
The one thing I want to ask, and I don't even want to think about a loss here because obviously the fight hasn't happened. Or I'm rooting for Max, but is there a scenario where it's a super close fight? Let's say Gaethje ends up winning, but it's a close fight nonetheless, where Max can still fight for the featherweight title. Because I mean, he's been a guy that's already been in the mix with Topuria. I mean, he is number one. I mean, he has the number one contender ranking right now. So, is there a world where he can lose this fight in honorable fashion, let's call it, and still fight for the featherweight belt? Or
I
does
think
the
so,
luster come off
Roland.
his name?
I
Maybe a
think that's
split
why the
decision.
BMF title is created, because it doesn't affect the actual rankings or system that they're in, their actual division. So yes, I think he could still fight for a title if he loses. Now, if he gets just first round finish, maybe not, right? But
Bro, this fight
it's
is
competitive. He can fight.
This fight's gonna take a lot of time to heal from, bro. Nobody fights Justin Gaethje and is just okay to fight.
Yeah, we saw what happened to Fiziev. Yeah,
bro. I mean, this might be his last fight of this year, his one and only fight of this year. Who knows? Like, it could be that bad, guys. I'm sorry to break it to you, but I mean, we know that definitely Max Holloway's best days are behind him.
Let me ask you this, though, Ben. Just strike for strike, remove power. Who do you think's the better boxer, better striker?
Max Holloway.
Yeah, he's the better pace too.
So,
but he puts himself in positions to be hit too often because of his volume and his throwing. Like, he throws so much that he's just vulnerable. So and he can take those shots. But let's not forget, he's going up in weight again. Yeah. I mean, we saw how Dustin Poirier's punches were really that fight wasn't close, guys.
Yeah, I know, but this is different. Max actually put on size for this fight. It almost looks like this is going to be his new division, the way he's looking right now.
Well,
he's looking a lot bigger.
One ass whooping might send him right back down. Cause relax, all right.
We'll see. I mean, Gaethje's a favorite for a reason. I have no discrepancy with that, but I'm gonna side with my boy Holloway here. It's just it's a scary fight. This is a BMF title. This is one of the better. This has to be the best BMF matchup that we've had. Scary, this is the best one. Yeah, this is the best BMF matchup for sure.
I just want to talk about the BMF title a little more. With a fight like this and actually being defended, I know the last BMF holder, he never defended the belt. Do you guys actually have some respect now for the BMF title?
Not really. I just think that the way that this matchup came together, it's cool. I like this matchup. This is a perfect matchup, and it's fitting that it's a BMF. I don't really put any weight on the belt. Like I guarantee I'm not going to remember who the BMF titles were in a couple of years. I might, but it's not something that I think holds much weight. It's just that this is a BMF matchup for sure. This is a great matchup more than anything.
Yeah, my biggest thing about the BMF title is like Ferguson should have been the first title holder.
Here we go. Here
Like
we go.
he could have taken that with him into the Hall of Fame instead of an interim champion.
Yeah, and don't jinx Max with Tony Ferguson right now.
Don't put it in
Got a
this
shout out at
Don't put that
Lukuya
in
on
the
the
air.
UFC 300 breakdown.
Because I'm not gonna lie, I was thinking about that in the back of my head when I was breaking on this fight throughout the week. I was like, damn, like this might be a Tony Ferguson type thing. Because the way that I don't know, I'm not gonna get into it.
Because he gets hit. I mean, Max wins fights, but he also takes punches because of how active he is. So yeah, let's see what happens. I do have a lot of respect for the BMF belt. I think that now we're getting to the more legit matchups. This is probably a matchup that maybe it doesn't happen if there is no BMF belt. You know what I mean? I don't think anybody saw this fight happening, last year. So
And breaking news, don't mean to cut you off here, but the BMF title is not gender reliant. It's not just men's
that
only.
was crazy.
So you want to end the match for the next matchup? Gaethje versus Jan.
What's Dana's
It doesn't
problem with
matter.
that question, bro?
It's not if you are. What did he end it with? There's something crazy, some weird saying, but yeah, it's like it's not if, you are something crazy.
I saw a clip of that, and I was like, "What do you like? No, that's just a nice way of saying no. I'm not making a BMF title for the fight that you all go walk your dogs in." That's pretty much what he was saying.
We'll see Carlos Esparza come back for that.
Let's get moving to the co-main here. We got Zhang Wei Li. She's looked like a dominant champ. She's come back after those 2 losses to Rose Namajunas. She's got an iron claw in the division right now. But Jan, she's put together 2 wins, and she's got that knockout against Jessica Andrade. Could we see a highlight performance from Jan here, or will Zhang Wei Li just be too much to overcome, Ben?
This is crazy that this fight is, off the big blockbuster release right here, but this is a big week. This is a big week for the people over there. This fight is rowdy. These chicks are badasses. These are 2 chicks that if there was a BMF title on the women's side, would probably find themselves fighting in that type of fight. So the fact that we get it without a women's BMF belt, the odds are crazy. I think the odds are crazy for what Jan has done on her come up. I know that she does have a loss. I believe it was to Jessica Andrade. But everything else she's looked really good in. I think that it's going to be a lot closer than the odds say. I don't know if Wei Li necessarily gets the finish. I don't think that this is a girl that she can just go out there and bully. I don't know that she can necessarily do that for the whole fight. That is one of her big advantages. With most people that she's fought at, the Rose stuff, I still don't understand it. You know what I mean? I really don't understand it. But for the most part, she bullies other girls. I don't know if she's going to be able to bully Jan Zanan. I have Wei Li winning. I think it's going to be a lot closer fight, and I wouldn't doubt maybe a decision. Like this chick is tough. I don't know if Wei Li gets the finish here.
Just to clear it up, Jan actually knocked out Jessica Andrade.
So who's her loss to?
Her 2 losses are Marina Rodriguez and Carla Esparza when she opened up into the UFC.
Bad loss, but at least they were like UFC debut fights.
Yeah, she's got a win over Dern, and then she beat Jessica Andrade, knocked her out, and that's kind of what propelled her into getting this title shot.
Yeah, she's on a streak and she's game. She's game. Roland, what do you think here? Are you on Wei Li or are you on the dog?
Yeah, I'm on Wei Li, but like Ben said, I think this might be a little closer. I don't know if it's going to be close throughout the whole fight. I think Wei Li is going to end up winning. But we've seen Wei Li in trouble at times standing up. We've seen her take some damage where, she gets dazed and, she has to kind of recover a little bit. So that's going to be scary at times. She needs to, wade through that. But, Zhang Wei Li, she's one of those girls. I talk about it all the time. Like when we were talking about Amanda Nunes back in the day, Valentina, even though she's lost. These are girls who really care about being champions. Zhang Wei Li she's like a girl that looks like she was cut out of some factory. She's probably there in the gym every day doing 1,000 leg kicks on the right, 1,000 leg kicks on the left, and running for like 100 miles. She's a robot. Yeah, exactly. So I like her to get the win. I think it'll be close at times. She's got to, wade through the power that Jan has to offer. But I think Wei Li gets it done. I think it's a good matchup that you got 2, country women fighting against each other. I think that'll be good for the country, and we'll see what goes on from there. But yeah, I like Wei Li here.
Let's see who can return and who can't after this one. All right, let's go to the next one.
Oh
here is
shit!
The main
I
event. We
thought I
get to
was out
see.
of pocket for my Godzilla and Kong comparison. Oh
Yeah,
my
I didn't say
god!
that. I mean, I didn't go there. But we get to see Alex Pereira defend the belt that was never lost by Jamal Hill. The odds are lying very closely with the champion being the short favorite here. We know what the champion can do on his feet, but at times he can be hit. He's been wobbled and even knocked out once in the octagon. He was coming off a Achilles injury. We will have to see how much that impacts his stand-up game. He said he can outclass the champ on the feet. Ben, do you think that's just gamesmanship, mental warfare, or do you really believe it?
I think that it's not mental warfare. I everybody, of course, everybody's gonna say he should shoot in some takedowns. He's probably big enough to where he can secure a couple of takedowns throughout the fight. Whether he can keep Pereira down or not is a whole different thing. But I do think that if he commits, he can get a couple of takedowns. I don't see him doing it, bro. I think that this is, and I don't want the comparison to be too crazy, just because I think he's kind of like on some Kevin Holland trying to prove a point here that he can strike. And we all know he can strike. We all know that he has devastating power. Although he couldn't finish Glover Teixeira, that was just, the refs giving the OG some extra leniency. They ended up throwing in the towel. But man, I predicted Jamal Hill to be the champ at the end of this year.
This is it. This is your shot.
This is it right here. He might not even have to defend again after this. He might be one and done, maybe get a fight in at the end of the year, fight at MSG or something. But Pereira can be hit as well. I think that somebody's going down. This fight is not seeing the cards. Somebody's getting knocked out, and somebody's getting knocked out brutally, bro. It's going to be some highlight reel Joe Rogan. We might get a reaction the next day on Instagram. The real,
Do it again, Ben. Do it again.
But this
You have
fight,
to
bro,
clip
is going to
that.
be violence. I know this is not the biggest name for UFC 300, and what I do think is it's guaranteed to deliver, though. I mean, these are two guys that go out there, they look for finishes. They're not on the ground, humping a leg, doing this and that. Like, these are guys that go out there to add to their highlight reel. So this might be one for like some of the UFC hardcores, not necessarily the casuals. I got to throw the casuals a shout out every episode. But this one is going to deliver. This is one that's pretty safe to invite somebody who normally doesn't watch UFC. Invite them to this card. I don't think that this is going to be, this is going to deliver. Somebody's getting knocked out. Somebody's going on a highlight reel.
Who is it?
It's going to be Alex Pereira.
Okay. All right.
So you got Hill winning.
I got Hill winning. I got Hill winning by knockout.
All right.
I think Pereira does get tired in there. We've seen him, we've seen him go into deep waters and we've
seen him take the fourth round off a few times.
Yeah. So Hill's tough. The Achilles, does it worry me? He lives, he's a Vegas guy, so he pretty much lives inside of the PI and everything that
it's inside of a year.
Forrest Griffin, everybody's saying, I mean, Aaron Rodgers could have done it without the PI, bro, and inside of 6 months.
Aaron Rodgers got some other type of medicine working.
I mean, I think though, when you got a guy like Pereira and those calf kicks coming at you, you got to worry about those Achilles because we've seen how deadly and how quick those calf kicks hit. I am worried about that for him.
This is a great matchup. This is one, like Ben was talking about, maybe not be for the casuals, even though I do think that Pereira, he's on his way to being a superstar. He's another Brazilian guy like Dubronx that has a good fan base. Yeah. I've been watching, like, when he's been doing these UFC events or these UFC appearances, he's mobbed every single time. Like, I don't know if it's just like by coincidence or not, but he's got a pretty strong following. He's a guy that, is on his way to superstardom. So I think this is a great main event. I know when it got announced, that was part of kind of the stench that was around the card because everybody was expecting something great. We had been hearing Conor McGregor's name floated around like all winter and all fall. Like, what's he going to do?
This is way better than Leon Edwards, bro.
For sure. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then we were hearing Leon Edwards, but that was never real. I don't think that was ever a real thing. But
three opponents, Roland. 3 opponents.
Pereira versus Hill. The line is a little telling because I think Perea was a larger favorite earlier on when it opened up. I think he was closer to like minus 140, minus 150. It's come in on Hill, but I am a little worried about the Achilles. It's a year in. I mean, Hill, if he's truly going to want to keep it standing, I mean, are you really going to want to stay in the pocket with Perea that much? I think you're going to want to be in and out. You're going to want to use your length, stay on the outside. Is he going to have the agility? Is he going to be able to do that? I don't think so. I'm rolling with a Potan, Chama all day. I'm going with Alex Perea. I'm going to learn some Portuguese after this.
Yeah.
And I'm going to become Brazilian. So give me Alex Perea here. I'll be the next Ian Gary. But just in that aspect.
Whoa, Roman, nah.
Just
He cleared it up. He said in which aspect he'll be.
In
learning
that
the
aspect,
Portuguese.
yeah. I mean, I thought about it, but yeah, just in that aspect. But
we're just clipping that part. I'll be the next Ian Gary.
Hey, if we clip that part, we're gonna clip you without saying no Diddy.
Yeah. So, anyways, I like Perea here. I like the Brazilian to get it done and Hill, I'll give him his credit. He's talking a good game right now. He's really building it up. He's good on the mic. I like what he's had to say. He's really got me believing that he's going to be game. And that's the other thing that, you got to have some confidence in if you're backing Hill. Do you really think he'd take this fight if he was compromised? I know it's a big payday and, you're getting your shot, but he was going to get a shot at the belt regardless. If it was at 300, it was just whenever he was healthy. So you got to think that he's healthy if you're backing him. I'm on the other side here. I like Pereira to get the finish. And like Ben said, I don't think this one's going to see the cards. I'm just on the other side. What about you, Justin? You're the tiebreaker here. Are you a
this
Chama?
Is a homer pick because I am a Poetan fan, so I got to go with Alex Pereira here. I think that it's going to be difficult for Hill. I think the skill set standing. I think Hill really does believe he can hang with Pereira standing, and I think that's going to be his downfall. And not to downplay Hill. I know he's the dog in the fight, but he's game. He's a good champion. Was a good champion, but I think we're going to see and still Saturday night.
Yeah, this fight, I think it's gonna fit the bill. I think this is a main event. I know we got people that are detracting, and I mean, people are always gonna want something more. And like we talked about, I think Dana White did. I don't know if he did a bad job, but he built it up to where there was gonna be room for people to be like, well, you were talking about how crazy it was booking this fight the whole time because there was a couple of those comments that he made. But I'm looking forward to this either way it goes.
This is, I think. And for sure, like the people who might not, I think when both of these guys walk out on Saturday on fight night, like, bro, I think you're gonna feel that energy.
Yes, you are.
When Potan walks out with his music and that shit, I wouldn't doubt that Jamal Hill probably walks out to that new Future, Kendrick, and Metro song, bro. Like, it's gonna be, and I'm just calling my shot there, but. It's going to be, when they walk out, you're really going to feel it. It's going to have like that big boxing fight feel when they're walking out. I do believe that. And then as soon as the fights start, bro, this one's going to deliver.
Yeah. And another thing to talk about when we talk about delivering, just announced earlier at the press conference, Max Holloway was talking to Dana White. He said he was going to talk to Dana White. He was going to ask for a bump in pay for bonuses. He wanted the 50,000 bonus to be bumped up. He, threw it out there that he was going to ask for 250,000. That way, when Dana comes back with his rebuttal, 100,000, Max Holloway would say, yes, let's agree to that. That's the money because he wanted a bump in pay. Someone else asked for Max, one of the fans, they asked Dana, can we get bigger bonuses for the fighters because it's UFC 300? And Dana was like, well, how much? Somebody shouted out 300,000 because it's UFC 300. Dana agreed. So the bonuses for this fight card will be 300,000. Everybody's going to be going for the bonus. Your sub bonus, your knockout bonus, your finish bonus. Everybody's going to want a piece of that pie. And I'm glad Dana did it because, that really hypes up this card.
Oh, yeah. The $300,000 bonus is going to be ridiculous. Like Justin said, you're going to see guys going for it out there, trying to make a statement, trying to get that bonus. Yeah, it's going to be nuts. We'll just see how many bonuses Dana gives out. Because
that amount, he might only give out one.
Well, he did say the budget after 300,000 would be 1.2 million, which is 4 bonuses. Your fight of the night, your knockout of the night, submission of the night.
There we go. There we go.
But he's maybe he gives a few more. I'm so pumped for the fighters that get to be on this card because they get a chance at that bonus.
Yeah,
But let's
300K.
talk about the prelims now, and I got the prelim set here for you, and just to show how stacked this card really is. Look at the 13th fight, the opening fight of the night. Cody Garbrandt versus Davison Figueiredo. Ben and Roland, real quick, give me your winner in this fight. Roland, we'll start with you.
Man, I'm a Cody Garbrandt fan. This is going to be one that I'm going to have to be watching as soon as it comes on. We've seen Cody, mix it up in the past couple of fights with the wrestling. Dagestan Cody, he's mixed it up a little bit. He's still got the quickness on the feet. He's still got the power. But if I'm betting on this, I would probably take Figgy. I'm not decided yet who I'll officially bet on, but right now, give me Figgy to get it done. I'm not going to, bet on Cody right now. Although at those odds, and he already said at 300,000.
What are the odds?
I think Figgy's like minus 300 or minus 340. The comeback on Cody's like more than plus 200. And when he said that, when he heard about the 300K, he already said he's gonna go for it. So I don't know if we're gonna. I don't know if we're gonna see Club Bouncer Cody or not, but it'll be crazy. We'll see.
Ben, we got Figueiredo jumping up in weight to fight Cody. Who's winning Saturday night?
Yeah, shout out Jake in the chat. Figueiredo is Wiso. Yeah, love the use of the word Wiso. Gotta get that. Shout out the 956. No, but like you mentioned, Justin, man, normally like I like to hate on Cody. It's fun. It's kind of easy to hate on Cody.
Low hanging fruit.
Yeah, low hanging fruit for sure.
He's chinny.
With Figueiredo going up in weight and Figueiredo really not being known as like a knockout artist, Cody saying he's gonna go for it is like a wrench.
Red flag.
Okay, at that point you're like, oh shit, all the cards are on the table here. If he's going for it, I mean, and we know that Cody, he would love that $300,000. Like, I mean, all of them would, right? But yeah. Cody used to be a champ. He was used to maybe a certain lifestyle for a little bit, and he would definitely appreciate that. It would have him reminiscing of his days as a champion. So at the odds and Figueiredo going up in weight, I don't know that he's going to be carrying more power at that weight class. We do know that he was a guy that it was very hard for him cutting weight. We knew that the end game for him was always eventually going up and not having hell, cutting. I don't know if he finishes Cody. So I think at the odds, Figueiredo's over 2-1, you said, Roland?
Yeah, the last time I checked, it was over 300.
They're over 300, man.
The last time I checked.
And that's because he might also take him down. At those odds, I'll go with Cody. I just don't see Figueiredo getting a finish. I don't see him getting a finish. The fact that it's a 3-round fight is good for Figueiredo. We've seen him kind of gas in championship fights, which is all he's ever pretty much fought in the UFC. But I'll go with Cody at those odds.
There you go. All right, let's move over to Bobby Green versus Jim Miller. Ben, we'll go with you first. This is a banger of a fight, bro.
Yeah, Jim Miller, UFC 100, UFC 200, UFC 300. I was almost going to jump out on a limb and another hot take, but put Jim Miller on the pay-per-view. But, I mean, they're throwing him a bone here with putting him on the card as it is. They gave him a very winnable matchup here in Bobby Green. Dude, I should have the odds pulled up for this fight.
This one, it's Jim Miller. He's plus 150, and Bobby Green, you got to drink a little bit of juice, minus 180.
A little bit of juice on Bobby Green. Yeah, so Bobby Green might, he's definitely the younger guy. We know that, like I said, Miller's been here for 300 UFC cards, damn near. But I'm going to go with Miller. I'm going to say that he kind of completes it, probably retires, gets a win here. Definitely see him retiring. If he loses at UFC 300, I don't know if he retires. I think that he would want to retire off of a win. So I see. Let's just write the perfect story. Let's get Jim Miller a win here at UFC 300. Let him put his gloves down in the middle of the octagon and ride off into the sunset off of a UFC 300 win. No better way, because this is a guy who's never getting into title shot contention. So this is like the picture perfect retirement for Jim Miller. They gave him an opponent that is beatable.
Has a number.
Yeah, so I mean, I like Jim Miller here as a dog.
Roland, are you worried about Bobby Green? We did see him against Jalen Turner last time, and it seemed like the man was murdered. He got knocked out, and the ref was reluctant to stop it. We saw
Turner's
his
a
body go
beast.
limp, and he took shot after shot on the floor. You worried about recovering on something like that?
Yeah, a little worried, and more than just that, and no disrespect to Bobby Green, because I do think he's a good fighter, but I'm just not impressed. I think his wins were kind of the result of some favorable matchups. He snuck in a win against Tony Ferguson. Everybody was, hey, I'm just saying, hey, you brought up Tony Ferguson
Those are
earlier.
facts. We can't,
Yeah, those are facts.
Yeah, but we're not doing that at UFC.
But that's on his track record, and that's one of the green marks next to his name in the past couple years. Jalen Turner put him out pretty easily, like Justin was talking about. I like Jim Miller here, as the small underdog plus 150. Green probably a little too much. The odds have gotten a little out of hand. Excuse me. But yeah, give me Jim Miller here. Should be a close fight. I'm just not that impressed with Bobby Green and his past couple fights.
And I think this is one where whoever was the dog, you just take the dog.
Yeah, exactly. 3-round fight. Just hope for the best.
All right, so we're all riding Jim Miller, right?
Relax.
Pause.
Nah, I didn't say no duty. That's a little awkward. All right, let's go over to your first restroom break of the night, and probably the only one. Andrade versus Marina Rodriguez. I don't see this one being close. I know Andrade was knocked out last time, but I think she's going to get her get back here, and I think she'll win and get a finish. Boys, where you at, Roland?
Man, I usually, I'm with you, because when I bet women's fights, I tend to go with the lady, well, usually the person who can put out the other one, like who has the power advantage or the striking advantage rather. That's kind of where I look when it comes to exactly the bully. That's who I'm looking for in these matchups. I want to go Andrade. I'm going to look into it a little bit more, because I've just been hearing things about Rodriguez maybe having the length to keep her at bay, maybe being the cleaner striker. We've seen Andrade, when she gets roughed up a little bit, she kind of just wails and just goes for it, right? Could end up being her demise in this fight. But right now, as it's situated, I'm leaning towards Andrade, and for the sake of the show, I'll take Andrade. But it's with caution right now, just for the odds and people who want to know. Andrade right now is a minus 140 favorite, and Marina Rodriguez plus 110.
Roland, are you still sub to her OnlyFans?
Never have been.
Ben, what about you? Who you got?
Super out of pocket on UFC 300 card. Hey, here in Texas, though, I mean, with the governor and his damn new laws, I mean, I don't know if that was on the list, but whatever. We'll save that for another podcast and another day. Here, Roland said the odds are pretty close. I don't like Andrade's IQ. I definitely think that she is the bully in this fight. She does want to get her get back. Tail end of her career, right? I don't think that she's going to be a title contender anymore, the way she was kind of feared earlier when she was dumping Rose on her head, and questioning, just disallowing slams. Like that's how vicious this chick used to be. You know what I mean? I think those days are well past. There, and her IQ, I really don't like it. Roland alluded to the wailing punches and just kind of desperation mode, just throwing with everything she has, face down, eyes closed, big hook coming. I think she's been beat by this girl before, and just the IQ is better on the other end. So I'm gonna fade Andrade here with the short odds.
All right, I just want to give a shout out to my boy Robert in the chat. What's up, Robert? Glad to see you in here.
Shout out,
the
Robert.
Next fight, we got Renato Moicano versus Jalen Turner. We know what we saw with Moicano in that last fight against Drew Dober. It took a lot for him to get the win. He did look pretty banged up. He got the split decision, or it was unanimous. Guys, what do we think here? Is it going to be Money Moicano, or would it be the spider, Jalen Turner?
This one, when I heard that the fight was announced, and without even looking at the odds, and I'm gonna get to why I'm bringing up the odds right now, I thought it would be lined a lot closer, right? So I've been thinking about this fight. Oh, okay, these guys are pretty close. Turner's up and coming. Moicano's a guy, I think he's found his stride at this new weight class. He's a guy that's always he's got to take a little bit to get there, and get you so where he can be effective. And then I look at the odds, and I saw that Jalen Turner, he's minus 235. Moicano's plus 190. Now, is that a little out of hand to where you don't want to take a straight bet? Probably, but I think that is telling that Turner, he's the up and coming prospect here. He's the ultra athlete. You just look at the guy, you can tell that he's explosive. And what I just said right now about Moicano having to kind of get in to be effective, I think that's going to ultimately be his demise. I like Moicano. I think he's great on the mic. He's maximized his time lately on the mic. Gotten a great following with that. Has a podcast too. Pretty interesting guy. But give me Jalen Turner.
I didn't know about the podcast. Gonna have to check that out because I do like his post-fight interviews. Rolling, Ben, who do you got here?
Yeah, with the odds, I definitely don't agree with the odds. I do feel like Turner should be favored. He's definitely the more aggressive fighter. He's going to be the bigger fighter. We know Moicano, like Roland alluded to, his new weight class. Jalen Turner's going to be bigger. I do think that Jalen Turner does get a little bit sloppy later into the fight. He's a guy that maybe doesn't have the best cardio, but he will bully Moicano. And when Moicano was losing fights, before his recent run, it was because he was being bullied. You know what I mean? He was getting hit a lot. I think that the safer – I don't like those odds. At those odds, I do think that you got to maybe a little sprinkle on Moicano at those odds, but I think that the play is an under here. Not too sure what they have it set at, if anybody can help me out with that, but I see a finish.
1.5.
1.5. Yeah, I see a possible first round or early second round finish. I do like the under there, even though it's not 2.5. These are two guys that tend to go for it. And like I said, both finishers. Moicano, they're going to be the smaller guy. I don't see him getting a sub here. And I think that is his best path to victory. Damn, I struggled with that one, boys. But I'm going to go with Turner. Don't like it at those odds, but just to win the fight, I'll say Turner beats him.
All right, let's move over to the up-and-comer, the rising superstar, Diego Lopes, fighting out of Mexico. He's a Brazilian guy, speaks Spanish fluently, fighting a veteran in the UFC with a 6-2, 6 wins, 2 losses, Sadiq Super Youssef. Roland, I'm going to go with you first. Who do you like in this fight? Do you like the up-and-comer or do you like the vet?
Oh, man, this is an interesting fight for me because I think they're, like you just said right now, Lopez, he's an up-and-comer. Youssef, he's a former Dana White Contender Series guy. He's a guy that has had his rise a little bit, kind of hit a wall once he hit a certain level of competition, had maybe dealt with some injuries. And yeah, that's, I think his last fight was against Edson and was a loss. The line here is minus 140 plus 110 in favor of Lopez. I'm going to go with Youssef here. I know a lot of people are on the Lopez train right now. He's going to be the explosive guy. But every time, and this is just me because I think I've seen more of him, so I'm probably going to be guilty of this and I might get schooled on Saturday night. But every time that I've seen Youssef, he's been a clean striker, and that's where I'm going to lean with this in this 3-round fight.
Man, who do you got?
Yeah, I like what Roland said at the end. He's definitely the cleaner striker, but being the cleaner striker also comes with a lot more of like detectable strikes. Lopez is very unorthodox, and that comes with not being a cleaner striker because you have, punches and kicks and knees or elbows coming from all different angles, which makes him a wild card. I do think that Youssef is tactical enough. He paid like attention to detail. You can tell that he's a very disciplined fighter for Sadiq Youssef. At these low odds, I just think that he's more well-rounded. I'm gonna agree with Roland. I'm gonna go with the dog and go with Youssef here.
All right.
What's
I got to go with my guy Diego Lopez here, man. I really want him to win. This kid's awesome to watch. He's been fun. After that one loss, he's put 2 together. I hope he makes it 3 on Saturday.
He's becoming a fan favorite. I've been seeing a lot of him.
All right, let's talk about this next one. Holly Holm versus Kayla Harrison. If you're not a casual and you do get, invested into MMA, you know about Kayla Harrison. She was the PFL champion for quite some time. She did lose her belt to their current champion, Larissa Pacheco. And the storyline is here because you got Holly Holm. When she came into the UFC and she won her championship, she fought against a judoka fighter, Ronda Rousey. Well, Kayla Harrison is also that high level of a judoka fighter. So we're getting to see a younger version of a Ronda Rousey, a complete champion, who's actually first time fighting at 135. She normally fights at 145. She's a much bigger girl. Guys, who do we got here? Roland, do you got Kayla Harrison, the newcomer, or will the preacher's daughter do it one more time for the kickboxers and beat a judoka?
Man, a couple things here, and I gotta spend some time on Kayla Harrison and just the cut to 135. Like Justin, like what you just talked about. She's fought her career like at 155. I think
Yeah,
she's fought
55 and
at
45. She's kind of
155.
switched through.
That's crazy. And I'm just looking right now because I was curious. She said that she normally when she fought at PFL would walk around at 165. So to see her cut to 135, it's pretty crazy. Her arm, she looks pretty jacked, like she's ready to do some damage. And Justin, I like all the points that you brought up because that's where I was going initially. But on the flip side, this is the Holly Holm of today. This is not the Holly Holm that took out Ronda Rousey. This is a Holly Holm that the last couple times that we've seen her come out and really, I mean, I can't date it, but there was a reinvention of Holly Holm where she became more of a clinch artist, and she would get girls up against a cage, weigh them out, be selective with her striking. And that's what worries me in this fight because there's no way in hell she could do that against Kayla Harrison. I mean, at least I don't think so. Just with Kayla Harrison's accolades, she's going to be the bigger lady coming in to the octagon in terms of just size and weight. I think Holly Holm's going to be the taller person, but yeah, give me Kayla Harrison here. It's not bettable. She's a 435 favorite, but I'm gonna be rooting for Holly Holm because I like Holly Holm. She's a vet. She's going to be there, fighting for the UFC guard, trying to welcome in a newcomer.
Yep.
And see if she can go out on her shield. But yeah, give me Holly Holm. I'm gonna be rooting for her, if anything else.
Ben, where are you at on this one?
What, Roland? If I may ask, what's the over under on that?
So the over under, let me pull it up.
2.5.
My screen just went out. Yeah, it's a 3-round fight. The over under is at 2.5. Only 140 on the juice.
Yeah, I love the over. Love the over. I do think that, like Roland talked about, Holly Holm having this like career resurgence and becoming this clinch fighter and position fighter. I mean, shit, we saw her do it live in San Antonio, all backing her. Big win there, and it was just a lot of lay and pray, Old man's game, old lady's game. I think this is going to be like this is going to show like the younger guard against like older. I know that Holly Holm's been in really, she's in really good shape. She's been one of the more like built chicks,
Yeah.
In women's MMA.
Always in the gym.
Yeah, always in the gym. But I think here it's just going to be like, I know I say levels, and usually when I say that, I allude to the veteran fighter, teaching a lesson. But I just think it's going to be a different level of aggression, strength. I think that, Holly Holm's new style of getting wins is clinching and wrestling, and that's Kayla Harrison's,
That's her game.
biggest bright spot. That's her game. Yeah, exactly. This would be like where we would see old Holly Holm, like against Ronda Rousey with a head kick knockout. But we just haven't seen her fight like that in so long, bro. Point fighting Holly Holm. We haven't seen that in so long. So the odds, I gotta agree with them, 4-1. I don't see Kayla Harrison getting the finish though. I do think that she will, have control, determine where the fight is fought at, but I see it being a unanimous decision win for Harrison. So I do like that over.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Harrison's going to get her on the ground. I think she'll flip her over and stay
Real
on
quick.
top and stay heavy.
Real quick, do you think Harrison's a champ at some point in her UFC career?
Yeah, I think she's a viable option to get there.
Who's the champ there right now?
At 135.
I'm usually
Justin, you know
walking.
off the top of your head?
It's we know Pena just gave it up, so
Oh, Raquel Pennington.
Yeah, she'll be
Lucky.
the champ by the end of the year, bro.
dude, Raquel Pennington's so forgettable.
Come
I
on,
can't
fam.
remember.
Like, come on, bro. I mean, beating
Hey,
Holly
she
Holm
earned
might
that
get you a
belt. She
title
earned
shot
that
too, or
belt.
no?
She earned that belt.
You think that there's more
it
than
might.
just beating Holly Holm to get a title shot, or could we see a
No,
title
I don't think
shot
so.
for
I
Kayla
think you
Harrison?
strap her right away.
No?
Yeah, you build that up right away. You got to have Raquel Pennington in the crowd for that, for sure.
Yeah. All right, let's move over to the next one. We got Calvin, the Boston finisher, Cater versus Aljamain, the Funkmaster Sterling. We know he's coming up in weight. He's going to featherweight now. And Aljamain, since losing to Sean O'Malley, has only competed in grappling contests. So it seems like he's getting ready to grapple with these 145ers. He's got 3 grappling contests since. And it seems like Calvin Cater's probably the perfect person to introduce him to the featherweight division because he hasn't been so hot lately. He lost to Josh Emmett and he lost to Arnold Allen. Had that terrible knee injury. We all
Yep.
saw that thing snap. It was gross. I actually like Aljo here, Roland. What about you?
Man, that's another one. I'm an Aljo guy. I've rooted for him for quite some time. Moving up to 145, wasn't excited when I heard the news. I thought they were kind of rushing him out instead of, maybe doing a rematch, although you really can't argue with the way that he lost to O'Malley. And that's kind of where I'm going to go with this. As long as Aljo doesn't fight like that, like just shoot him blindly and just go in and just see red, which is kind of what I thought he was doing against O'Malley. He kind of got a little over anxious there, which led to his knockout. I do think that he can take advantage of Cater and get him to the ground and, dominate this fight because that's where he's going to have to do it. I don't think he'll win necessarily striking. I think he can do enough to hold his own and to get the fight to the ground, and take advantage. Cater, the knee injury, like Justin said, that is a little worrisome. I don't know if he's going to have enough, to get away from those takedowns. So as long as Aljo's clean with the takedown, which is a big if, because we've seen him, really just take advantage of his size at 135, being so much bigger than everybody. You really don't have to worry about like being super clean with your takedowns. You can kind of just like bully the guys, but can't really do this at 145. And Cater's not the smallest 145er, I don't think. So going to be an interesting fight. I took another side because the odds, they've gone in Aljo's favor. Aljo's minus 175 right now. I think that's a little steep. Honestly, even though I want to bet Aljo because I think he's going to win the fight, minus 175 is a little bit of a price to pay if you're taking Aljo on Saturday night. Glad to see that he's getting some love. The fans are showing him some love here. He's been a guy that's gotten booed most time out. So yeah, they're giving him some cheers. So yeah, shout out to Aljo. Hopefully he rights some wrongs with that last loss against O'Malley and gets a dub here at 145.
Ben, what about you? How do you feel about the former champ coming up 10 pounds to featherweight?
Yeah, I think I believe that Cater. How is his takedown defense? Has he been taken down, Justin? In any previous fights, I know that most of his fights have been stand-up fights. I don't know if Arnold Allen was able to get him to the ground. I know Josh Emmett damn well didn't, but Aljo's gonna have to be a backpack. If he's not able to backpack, two of these rounds, I don't see how he wins.
I think the last time he was on the ground, Ben, was against a beat, and that was in 2019.
Yeah, there's a beat. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Cater, bro. Aljo. We're talking about grappling matches. He should be working on his striking after what the fuck happened in his.
Are you surprised with the odds, Ben, going in Aljo's favor? Because it was a lot closer.
But we know that his fight style, like if he is able to implement his game and determine where the fight is,
people like to bet on that.
Exactly, bro. Because it's just fight time, and usually if he does get somebody down, like I said, he's a backpack, so they don't get up most of the time, or if they get up, it's with him on a backpack, on their back. So I think if he's, and we'll know early. I think that if Cater's stuffing takedowns in the first round, Aljamain Sterling is going to get his ass beat. So I do think that he's going to get a takedown or two. But give me Cater. Give me Cater to – I don't like that he hasn't been working on his stand-up. You get knocked out and you're, shooting takedowns from a mile away. You go work on grappling. I get that the grappling might help with the takedowns, but – let's get some striking going on, buddy. I know that Ray Longo also, Ray Longo's going to be in his corner. We get to hear from Ray Longo on the Kenny Florian and John Anik podcast. They stick to game plans. And we know that Ray Longo is just going to want the takedown. He's not going to want him fucking around with Calvin Kattar on the feet. It's New York, it's Boston. They know what Kattar does. So the game plan is going to be takedown, like every other Aljo fight. And I'm not sure that he's going to be able to do that for 3 rounds.
It's going to be interesting to see what kind of movement Kattar can provide after that blown knee. Here we go to the sixth fight.
What's your pick, Justin, to break the tie?
I got Aljo. I'm an Aljo fan, so that's another, homer pick. But I think he does. Like I said, I like this matchup for him just because I think he'll be grappling heavy. He was grappling bigger guys 3 fights in a row. He was able to win 2 of those grappling matchups. And I think he's going to be able to, take advantage of that knee issue Kattar has and get him to the floor and kind of just backpack him for at least 2 of the rounds. He's just got to survive one standing, I think, in my opinion.
Fair
Let's
enough.
move over to what seems to be a title eliminator match here. We got Yuri Prohashka versus Alexander Rakic. And Roland, you want to pull up these odds real quick because I think they're pretty damn near even. I think this is a pick 'em. And I'll go to
Let
Ben first.
me pull it up.
Who do you
Yeah, I
like
got the
here,
odds.
Rakic or Prohashka?
Yeah. Prohashka was a pretty scary dude, bro.
Yeah, his build up.
When he went and won the fight, his build up, his haircut, his like what's that thing
His
that we
aura.
talk about? Yeah, his aura, and just like
Mystique.
you really don't see him out everywhere, and then he comes out with a video in the middle of the woods, like just he was a scary guy. Then he got injured, and I think that injury did set him back. I mean, I know that he lost to Alex Pereira, and there's no shame in that, right?
Yeah, knocked out.
But yeah, knocked out. But here you have another young prospect and a guy with a big injury. I mean, this guy took I think a whole year off to get his shoulder repaired after that injury.
So did Rakic. He's coming off that leg injury as well. 2022 is the last time he fought.
Yeah.
Who was that against Medic or who
versus
was that
Jan Blachowicz?
Oh, yeah. Against Jan. Oh man, this is tough.
May of 22. That's a long time. Also, May of 22. Yeah.
I think he's more well-rounded though. Rakic. I'm gonna go with Rakic. I know Jan is an older guy as well. I know that he made his run later in his career, so I'm gonna go with Rakic in this one. Not a really good feel for it. Just throwing something out there for pick's sake.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Yuri's actually 1 year younger, so Rakic guess Yuri just looks older.
Yeah. I was going to say, Ben, on the last thing that you just said about just, saying something for the sake of having a pick, because I feel like this is a fight where you're literally just throwing two guys in there and seeing who comes out and really not knowing, because each guy is capable of finishing the other. They're both fight styles lead to that. I'm going to disagree with Ben. I'm going to go with Yuri here. I know it's been a while, so he probably should be fully healed from a torn ACL in May of 22. Fast forward to April of 24. That's a full 2 years pretty much. So you got to think that Rakic has put that behind him. But even with that, I like Yuri to get the job done here. And, he's got his side, and I hope it's not too focused on, trying to get back on Pereira, because he keeps on talking about that early stoppage, not really getting hit that hard or whatever. So hope he's got his mind in the right place, for this fight. It doesn't end up getting knocked out again. Because right now the odds, Ben, you asked for him. Rakic minus 120, Yuri minus 110.
So even the odds makers are having a hard time picking this fight.
Yeah,
this is definitely what seems to be the title eliminator. I think whoever loses out of that picture, whoever wins, probably gets into the front of the line.
And there's no way that this fight sees the cards, right? They're both going to go in. Someone's going to get knocked out. 3-round fight.
300K on the line. Someone's getting knocked out.
3-round fight. Ben, are you taking the under 2.5 here?
I could see an over. I could see it. It's because if Rakic wins, he's going to win a decision. I don't see him winning a stoppage. If Yuri wins, I think that it's because he catches Rakic. I have Rakic winning, so I don't like. I'm just going to enjoy this fight, bro. This is going to be the fight that gets us to the pay-per-view. You know what I mean? Let me hopefully see some violence, but I would lean Rakic in the over.
There we go.
Let's just
it's UFC 300. We're here.
Let's just take another look at it, guys. Look at the card, top to bottom. I mean, stacked. This is one of them ones. You know what I'm talking about? Like
this is one where you have. Go ahead, Justin.
When you look at the hundreds, the 200, the 100, this on paper is better than 200 and 100. I mean, this is wow.
Yeah, on paper, this is super stacked. I mentioned it in the beginning. This is one where you have to watch it from start to finish. You have to watch it from the very first prelim all the way to the very end. I know we talk about, Andrade, Rodriguez, Hawley, Holm, Harrison. Those are still exciting fights in their own regard, fights that you don't want to take your eyes off of. This is UFC 300. Man, it's exciting. The question that I had, and I heard it come up earlier, is, with the crowd, you're there for this first fight, right? Against Figueiredo and Cody Garbrandt, right? Your butt's in the seat.
I think you have to be, bro. And I'm just thinking of the people who are going to come celebrity-wise, because that's always fun to see the celebs in the crowd enjoying the night. I think this is going to be insane.
The week after WrestleMania, Justin, your house has been popping, cuz.
Yo, TKO as a company, I started investing into stock because I like what they both do. I like WWE and I like UFC, and I can't complain. Stocks are up, stonks.
Business is good.
Business is good.
You started buying the pay-per-views again and shit, or what?
I
Let
don't
me
know if I'll
find
ever reach
out.
that level, but I
I was,
support in other ways, right? So I
I was
think we're
gonna say I
good,
was
Dana.
considering buying this one, but I'm not sure. I don't think so. Just for the sake of it, it's 300, but
Yeah, it's a marquee match. I mean,
yeah,
it's one of those that you can think about buying.
yeah. Not that if I didn't buy it, I would watch it another way, Dana. If you're watching out there,
This might be one that deserves a recap. Hopefully, it delivers, bro. And we have some really, really good fights that we can maybe come and talk about, see what's next. But this is the big one. I think this is the UFC Super Bowl this year. I would
Yeah,
say to this point,
it's their WrestleMania.
their WrestleMania.
All right, boys. Well, I think that's it for us. What you can expect from us this coming week, we'll probably come back with some sort of recap, like Ben said, and we'll mix it up. It won't just be UFC. We're going to have to include some NBA because the playoffs are about to start. I would talk baseball, but right now my Astros are slumping like I've never seen.
we
I
can skip
guess
baseball
the
next
eight
week.
All you
pitchers need to
Dusty Baker
for
haters,
quite some
I want to
time.
hear you this year.
We can skip baseball. That's fine.
Yeah, so those pitchers have been pitching in November for quite some time. Our veterans are getting older. It's just not looking good right now. We're gonna
And
need something. I need Verlander back, and I still don't think that's enough with
and
Framber being out.
And
It's just
next
chaos.
week, just so flip gears back to basketball, we'll know if the Lakers are in the playoffs or not. And I think they're on the outside looking in right now, right?
Yeah, we're in the play-in right now, but it's been what 2-3 games in a row that we've lost. We had put a streak together. I don't know if it was like 6 or 7 wins. We were looking good. There was talks about us jumping the Suns, getting the 6th seed, and it's been downhill these last 2
Yeah,
games. And
those
you're looking
talks
at the
didn't come
chemistry.
through.
You're looking
Where
at
where were
Darvin
those
Ham.
talks
Those
on
talks
Laker
didn't come
Sports?
through.
What?
Those
Where were
talks
those
didn't come
talks
through.
of you all
Oh,
jumping
just
the sun?
Twitter. Just on Twitter.
Lakers, Reddit. Where were those talks?
I for NBA, I usually hang around Twitter. Reddit, I'll get for other sources, but NBA usually is Twitter.
Yeah, no. I mean, we'll see what happens. The playoffs should be interesting. The West and the East. I mean, the West more so than the East is wide open in my opinion. So we'll see what happens.
Real quick before we leave, I just to throw the NBA, Roland. I gotta ask you about Wemby. Did the year deliver? He played a lot better than I thought he would year one, and he was way more durable than I thought year one. Are you excited about that young prospect?
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, now we got the answer. Wemby, he's done more than
Yeah.
deliver. Like what? I mean, honestly, I talked about it before the season. I was like, hey, you just need one guy. You could maybe make a run at the play, and it's a lot harder than that. Obviously, the Spurs are now going for a top 3 pick. A lot different expectations, but that's part of the rebuilding process. And I think we have the one clear answer is that Wemby is him. I think he's already like, I mean. Can you name 10 players better than him right now? Or 5 players better than him?
Easily.
He's probably in that
Nah, not
stratosphere
easily.
right now. So,
That defense is legit.
he's arguably defensive player of the year. He's
I
gonna
don't think
have
it's arguably he is, and he should get it, but he's probably not.
yeah, because I'm just saying odds wise,
That's Rudy Gobert's award.
Gobert. It's still Gobert.
Anthony Davis is in there because of steals and blocks.
Nobody's.
But
No.
Wemby, I mean, the stats are off the chart when you talk about the defense and the blocks. I mean, he's gonna get a quadruple double at some point in his career. He had 9 blocks the other day, so I mean, it's gonna
Sheesh.
come where he gets that quadruple double with the blocks. So I'm excited about the future. I mean, and I said it, when obviously you have to modify your expectations, but the Spurs, they don't have long contracts on their team. A lot of these guys are going to be gone. This is a roster and shuffle, so it's all about getting the right guys around him, and the time is ticking. I'm not saying that they have to get something done by tomorrow or by next season. They have to be competing for the Western Conference title or anything like that. But they got to be on that Thunder type trajectory. Maybe I'm not saying find a SGA because that's easier said than done.
That's not coming because this draft is weak.
Exactly, but the Thunder got SGA through a trade for Paul George, so I'm saying maybe do something like that where inject a veteran who can go in there and help take you to the next level, or an up and comer that's going to take you to the next level. Don't know there's that out there necessarily for them, but hey, they got
a free
Wemby.
agent.
He's the next guy. They've got cap room to play with. They got a roster that, is going to have flexibility in terms of, contracts being gone tomorrow. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what type of roster the Spurs put around them for next season, and go from there. Next year, I'm hoping, that they're competing for the play-in this time next year. That we're talking about the Spurs, hopefully making a little bit of a dent in the playoffs, because Wemby is that guy. You just got to get some guys around him. The guys this year clearly, not up to snuff. No disrespect, because they've come through at some points, but 25 win team, not it. So
Definitely beat the Bobo allegations. Definitely did.
Oh, for sure. But I
Cleared
mean,
him.
no disrespect to Bobo, talented player, but Wemby's just a one of a kind, man. I mean, every
The new
night.
logo's sick, Roland. That new
Yeah,
logo he came out with is
the
song.
new
I'm
logo's
a
sick.
fan of that logo.
Supposedly he drew it himself, so he's a little bit of an artist.
I don't know
He's
about
from
all
France,
that part.
so I like the rollout. They put it in the cornfields or whatever, so that was
Yeah.
pretty cool.
And it's an alien.
Alien
They're
thing.
doing a good
they're
job
playing
by
off
him.
of that. They're maximizing it with him. They know what they have with Wemby, and the health has been there. I mean, other than the occasional rest nights here and there, and I think he might have tweaked his ankle a little bit earlier in the year. He's been healthy, knock on wood. He's gonna be a guy that's gonna carry the Spurs hopefully to the next title before the Houston Rockets and before the Lakers. So we'll see. I'm excited about the future.
Great prospect. All right, boys. I think that's it for us. We got 2 more sleeps to UFC 300. It's gonna be stacked. I can't wait to talk about it next Thursday, boys.
You shouldn't have let me go off like that, Justin.
That was way too much time for a team that was worse this year with Wemby than last year, bro. Way too much time.
Hey, they got a star, bro. I had to ask because he wasn't on last week to ask about NBA.
Generational talent, and the worst with him on there. Like, let's end this fucking show, bro.
True hater right there.
He's
All right, boys. Peace.
by the second year with Wemby talk.